Hello, everybody. So good to see you. Good evening on a Wednesday evening. Usually, my family eats dinner a little later. So this would have been dinner time, but this event forces us family to eat dinner a little earlier. I hope you get to enjoy your dinner with your family. So good to see you all. It it will be my encouragement that you turn on your camera if your bandwidth allows. It will be fun to just be able to see everybody. Um, I think that's a sense of community. That's the best we can do when we can gather physically. So good to see you all. Um, my name is Mike Chen, and I'm the head of school. And joining me is Natalie Ayres, Ms. Ayres, Dean of Middle School. We have Mr. Chen here. He is the Director of Technology and Innovation. And we have Mrs. Baumgartner here as a Director of Student Support. So very good to see you all. If I may, I will ask Mrs. Baumgartner to open us up with a word of prayer if you would join us in that.
Sure. All right. Let's pray. Dear Lord Jesus, I just want to thank you so much for your faithfulness to us, all of us in this community during this really difficult time. Thank you for making it possible to meet together tonight on Zoom. I pray that you would, help each one of us. I know we've all had a long day already. Thank you that Dr. Chen is able to share the plans with us moving forward and the good things and the exciting things that are happening in our school. I just pray that you would bless him and all of the teachers, all of the parents, all of the students. Give us strength and give us joy in this spring semester. We love you, Lord Jesus. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Mrs. Baumgartner. Hey, so today's agenda is very simple, and I'm going to keep my part succinct if I'm able to. I am known to be a little wordy and talk quite a bit. Uh, but I'll try to be as succinct as possible and give you the most permanent information and leave time for the Q&A. So in the meantime, if you have questions, start jotting them down. You don't need to ask right away. We're going to have the time to kind of interact. And so for everybody here, and this is recorded as well, so we will make the video available in case you want to review some of the information or you want to share with another family who may not be able to make this time. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to do this and see if it's possible. Oh, actually, let's start with the context. We have been at this and in pandemic for a while, for a long time, and that's we're all in it, so there's nothing unusual. What's what is a possible game changer is the vaccine making available. Some of the members here, I know on the screen, if you're the front line worker, essential worker, you probably and medical personnel, you probably already receive your vaccine dose. Right now, with in California, we're still going at it with the Tier 1A, and that is people over 75 and the essential medical personnel. So, like for example, my brother is a nurse, and so he's already got it. My parents over 65, in their 70s, so they have already received their vaccine. And I believe Governor Newsom has increased that pool by extending the people over age of 65 to enter into the Tier 1A. Thus push the teachers down the ladder, so to speak, and we're as educational personnel, we're in Tier 1B. But we're the top of the 1B. So as soon as we can get to 1B, we will be able to get there. and that will be that will make everybody feel a little bit more comfortable and safe. So that's number one. Number two is that our plan that was submitted to the county has been approved. Whether it is a dimmer switch plan that is matching the county regulations, public health condition, and that's why those our fourth and fifth grade students have been able to operate on campus, and we have been able to, for middle school, high school, be able to have occasional sort of on-campus activities, right? And but what happened is in two weeks ago, the regulation got changed a little bit, and but we were happy to learn that our plan, because we have been operating on an approved plan, we can continue to do so, uh, but with slight modification. And one major one that is quite interesting, and we were trying to understand the implication on our school, and this is having a lot of meetings with the San Mateo superintendent, Nancy McGee, and also the San Mateo public health department, and so on. What we're discovering is that originally we talk about cohort. There's a number restriction on a small cohort of students, and where you have to stay within that. The number restriction on each cohort is no longer needed, but rather the county and the state puts much more emphasis on other safeguarding measures, such as social distancing. So, for example, if a classroom, if we capacity allows for the right social distancing requirement, then the previous, say, 15 student restriction no longer needed, right? So if you have a small classroom, you can only fit 10 students, it's 10 students. But if you have a classroom that can fit 20, but allowing for that maximum social distancing, then it's fine. That's number one. Number two is that you have to make sure that the classroom facility meets the ventilation standard. I'm happy to report we have retrofitted all our classrooms thanks to Mr. Baumgartner, who is an HVAC genius. Um, and here's the standard. Think of it this way: a room, a safe standard published by the Global Health Center of Harvard. The standard is 4 complete room air exchange in an hour. 4 exchanges in an hour, right? So, the whole room, the air capacity. Our room can exchange out of 7.5 times in an hour. So we're, up the game, and so the ventilation system is there. So that's we have that. The third thing is that all the safeguarding measures, such as the policy and procedure of hygiene and mask wearing, has to be strictly enforced. And so that as long as those things are in place, we can continue to gradually operate and open on campus. And I believe there was another thing that I want to say. What is it? Something that kind of slipped my mind. We have hand washing, we have mask wearing. Um, Gosh, something slipped my mind. Uh, well, in any case, all these things had to be put in place to operate. And if it comes back, I'll let you know. So what that means is that we are willing to up the game to bring students back more. And think of it this way. Uh, Oh, that's right. That's right. Miss Sarah just reminded me what should be on my head. Uh, the emphasis on upping the cadences of testing and screening, both on staff, which is required, and for students, which is recommended. So it's different, right? Our staffs, our teachers are getting tested every month, right? Every month. It's required. We had to report it. There's accountability measure from the county. We had to daily report everything, and we had to give the schedule, and we had to be able to submit documentation. So that is in place, and that has been in place. By the way, faculty members, even though we're not mostly on campus, we all had to fill out our health screening app every single day. So when I wake up in the morning, I'm taking temperature and so on and submitting that. So we all have to do that. So upping the cadence of that. The county knows that it is not may not be practicable to require students to get tested in high frequency, like teachers. So that was simply a strong recommendation. Um, so that is something that I would say, if 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 you feel led, so to speak, and believe that that's helpful to you and your kids, that is something that I would recommend. Is Project Baseline that's offering for free, and your health provider can do that as well. But we do we are requiring to have responsive testing. So that means if there is a known case of exposure, if there is any symptoms that we red flag, then we will ask you to take your kid to get tested, right? For example. So those things have been in place, and I just want to re-emphasize that. Now, real quick, I'm gonna go to the specific about scheduling. I hope I'm not going too quickly, but here is what I have here. I'm gonna maybe Vince, you can spotlight me. Okay. So here you go. I'm gonna use a little virtual background to show my presentation. I want to say that currently we are proposing, and I want to say that this schedule, think of it this way. There's a time frame that we're operating on this. February break to spring break. Okay, so February break, at the end of February break, when you come back on that Monday, is February 22nd. And then leading all the way right before the Good Friday, which is April 1st. Think of this schedule. We will operate on this schedule in that time frame, which consists of 6 weeks. Now, we would like to use the spring break as a way to reassess whether we want to up the number of days or down the number of days, depending on the condition then, and depending on whether there is availability of vaccine for our faculty, right? And then so we will do a reset, or we will do a revision to finish out the rest of the year. But here is a case where you got folks who are wanting to be on campus. On every Wednesday, there will be a half day virtual for office hour and all these different things where they meet with the advisory. And then the second half, they come on campus for physical activities, right? So emphasis on physical activity, socialization. On Thursday, we want to bring them back again for full day of instruction. This is everybody. Now, also, I want to emphasize that for those of you who do not feel comfortable of bringing your students on campus, or that you have members in your household that might be at high risk, rest assured your student can still stay in the virtual Sky cohort. So on Thursday, for example, when there is a on-campus learning, we will use the technology to pipe the virtual students in to have a simultaneous learning experience, okay? So we would like to operate this for at least 3 weeks out of those 6. And if it does well and we don't have community spread and we don't have known cases, then I would be willing to open up another day to bring students back. So in the 6-week process, I'm willing to get 2 full day, have the potential of having 2 full day on campus before we enter into spring break. So that's really the idea. So kind of take this in a little bit, and I want to show you how that. And I know that some of you have students, have kids across divisions. So I'm going to show you what that looks like for high school and also for 4th and 5th. So I'm going to put another background here and show you the rest. Let me just move out of the way a little bit. So if you look at the high school, now high school, we had to be a little bit more careful with high school. And also by nature of their courses, because there's a lot of cross pollination, so to speak, we have decided to find a way to bring high school students back every Monday. But that every Monday will be full of, really good activities that meets their social, emotional, and physical needs. There will be opportunity continue for leadership, right? So student government can meet on campus. They can use a computer. You're on campus, but they can still sign on and get connected with their friends. They can continue to operate on their clubs with teachers there to encouraging them along instead of right now trying to run clubs virtually. We will have office hours where students and teachers can sit, across a long table or some sort, and they can have conversation that way. And then we will also make sure we have laboratories set up that will be safe to operate. So that's the high school. And as far as for 4th and 5th grade at the moment, we are not seeing a particularly a need yet to increase from 3 day on campus to 4. But I'm completely open for the possibility to do that if once our public health condition increase just a notch better, then we would do so. So that's really the overall context, and we can go back to this slide later on if you have more question. But I just want to talk a little bit about some key consideration. And as we were designing this and really try to be thoughtful about how to bring students back on campus, because we're seeing a tremendous need for lots of students who, being physically, in a learning environment is important. But we want to make sure it's flexible for students who the on-campus experience will benefit them, and also for students who may not have that option and needing to stay virtual. So that's why it's very flexible. We also need to be adaptable, meaning that we all have to be adapted to the condition that's constantly changing, right? And but please do know that our school is doing everything in our power. We're doing everything in our power to make sure that we can get through this together. We want to make sure that number 2, safe and healthy with proper COVID prevention protocols. So we're gonna enforce that. We're gonna mandate, these kind of things, and because it is real. The threat of COVID, the situation is real, and and we're very conscious of that. We know that some members in our community have been deeply affected by this, and it's no joke. So we want to make sure that we do our part. And number three is that, and I have said that three is where options for students and families opting to stay virtually. And number four is that this kind of schedule really focus quite a bit on the social, emotional, and physical health of our students. Um, so there's quite a bit of emphasis. I know that some families are asking how can we get our kids to move around, to have physical activities, and so we're going to take advantage of the every Wednesday, the half day, to really zero in on that. So in number five, I want to say that on-campus lunch will be available to purchase, because right now in this, and I wrote it this way, this slide is for all levels. So if you're talking about elementary school, you have 3 day on campus. So all 3 days you have school lunch available to purchase pre-order, actually, right? So we can packaging them safely and all that. But number six, what I want to say is that that one of the on-campus days that the lunch will be free. It's on the school. We want to make sure that you don't have to like take too much time. And I believe for middle school, the Thursday full day, um, your kids' lunch is on us, as long as you pre-order. If you pre-order, we'll make sure that process is easy to navigate. And later on, Vince Chen can share with you a little bit of that later if you have more question. But we just want to say that. And high school Monday lunch is free, is on us. Elementary school every Thursday lunch is also on us. Number seven, the point seven is parent responsibilities. This is what I urge you to do at home, is that we need to have a consistent public health messages at home, right? Encourage making sure that your kids understand the nature of the situation, to the best of your ability, to make sure that your family, social interactions remain to be as consistent, stable, kind of a social group, so that it's not a lot of intermixing. Um, that way your private life and choices, we now know that it has consequences in a community life. And so parents support us in that way. Students, and we're going to ask students again, they also have that kind of responsibilities. They need to be taught and trained to have the awareness of the physical distance. Remember to wear mask, hand washing, and so on. All these things has to be practiced both on campus and off campus. And the reason is that we work very hard to bring students back on campus. But if we don't do these things, and if we don't do our part to really go through this final stretch of the pandemic, then we may get shut down, right? Or we had to close. I'll give you an example. Monte Vista Christian School in Watsonville, the head of school is a close friend of mine, and they've been operating a hybrid on campus middle school. And this week, they shut it down for 2 weeks, because somebody, didn't really practice safe distancing, and then there's a small so-called outbreak there, and they had to quickly shut it down for 2 weeks. So, we want to be mindful of that. And lastly, I know I need to be succinct. Lastly, just as a word of encouragement, right? I used to run marathons and marathon is 26.2 miles. When I hit 20-mile mark, you're thinking about it, after you run 20 miles, 6.2 miles, nothing. 6 miles. But usually 20 miles is like the hardest thing, right? Because you hit the wall and you just can't get through it. You're like, I just want to shut down. I'm sick and tired of this. I can't do this. I need to stop. But you know that as soon as you stop moving your feet, it's just not gonna happen again, right? So you gotta just keep going. Uh, I think in many ways we're at that 20-mile mark in this pandemic marathon, and some of us are really, really sick and tired of it. We're so tired, exhausted, um, you know, but we gotta push through it. As a community, we can do this. We can get through this, and then guess what? Once we can all get back on campus, I promise you, we're gonna have a big party. We're gonna have a big party for all of us, right? So, uh, but anyway, so that's all I have. Ms. Harris, do you have anything you want to add?
Just questions. If we had the question and answer time period for the families.
Yeah, go ahead. And does anybody have questions?
Yeah, I had a question. I was wondering if you can give us an update on the status for team sports in middle school.
Thank
So,
you.
Ms. Harris.
Yeah, thank you. My apologies. My dog all of a sudden started barking. Somebody's running by the house right now. So hopefully she calms down. Team sports. I would love to see team sports. Obviously, I'm really an enthusiast. I've been the athletic director for many years and still serving as the dean. And I sit at the CIF Federated Council. I'm going to be at a meeting on Friday with them. And right now for high school, only the purple tier is available for athletics. And for like our league, the purple tier is cross country for high school. For our middle school league, no one is offering sports. All schools are just kind of being able to just kind of function or try to see if they can offer classes. Most of them are virtual. So I don't anticipating anything at this point happening for middle school on competition. However, that being said, we've now piloted our outdoor ed program. And I would also like to start doing more clinic based with the students, where we can start doing individual skill training with our students. So after the outdoor ed, kind of my action plan for that is to start then offering maybe some sports clinics for our students. And focusing on our basketball, our soccer, our various sports that the kids are that we typically do at our middle school campus.
Prior to, I know that some of you in your registration process are putting some questions. One of them was, will we have school photos? And Ms. Harris, you want to speak on that?
We had it scheduled twice, and because of everything going on and the constant changes with everything with the COVID, we have just said, okay, let's just postpone it for a little bit, but it is definitely on the docket. It's something I would like to have the kids have that experience. I, as a parent, want that experience for my kids too. So I actually, interestingly, just met with the students in our assembly this week. And I was requesting if any 7th and 8th graders were interested in being part of our yearbook team, that I needed a couple of helpers. So I had a few kids write to me on that part. And then I also encouraged the students that we are going to be doing our school pictures, and we'll get that on schedule for them, because we would like to see that published also in a yearbook format for them too.
Thanks for that. Other folks have questions? Just feel free to unmute yourself. And if you don't want to speak out in public, you can also send to the chat and we can answer any questions you have. I do want to mention,
are there any plans?
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, just wanted to see, are there any plans as the kids return to school more frequently, I guess, if the gym or the student center will be used by them? Or yeah, any plans there?
So we do have plans in terms of student center and gym, but not in a traditional way because, as I said earlier, the emphasis now is really about groups not mixing, right? So, for example, we may be able to, have the entire, say, seventh grade or eighth grade, say, for example, be in the community center and kind of spread out, and we can monitor them and all that. And obviously, this is not going to be, kind of business as usual where they can meander around. They kind of their mobility is kind of restricted a little bit. But hopefully just by being there and guided activities, it will restore some sense of normalcy. Gym is a tricky part. The usage of gym is highly regulated, so to speak, right? So for example, there has been quite a consistent debate among when we bring elementary school, fourth and fifth grade students to the Lindamar campus for PE. We have initially opened up the gym for them to be able to use, but then we're still trying to figure out whether, I think right now it seems like the gym may be, under the new reg. And Natalie has really done a lot of that studies on that, on the regulation around that. Right now, do you want to speak into that a little bit more?
Correct. We're in the purple tier right now, which under the governor's orders, we are not permitted to be inside the gymnasium to do activities. So let's say, for instance, we want to do basketball. That's fine, but it's going to have to be on our outdoor court. So usage of the gym for our middle school and high school kids is not permitted. So once we start getting into, better tiers, then that opens it up. There's a whole policy and guidelines that they restrict us by.
Yeah, and this is outside of our control. We have installed some pretty powerful ventilation system even since COVID, and we have thought that if we can do all these sort of healthy building measured, that we can operate. But then, and we were kind of really banking on using the gym, such a nice big open space. Why wouldn't we use it? And initially we even set up several classrooms, like opposite end, but then we find out that we could not use it, and so that plan went out the window, so to speak. So I do want to mention on another note, we are planning on bringing students, like middle school students, back a day and a half, right? So right now the plan is day and a half. And then in 3 weeks, if we do really well, then we'll be two and a half days on campus. We can increase, and by then I'll let you know which day of the week that would be, which additional day of the week that would be. And we're gonna start this on that very first week after we get back on the February break. So what that means is that please, if you want your students to participate on campus, that first week back on February break, just make sure you don't get flagged for quarantine, meaning travel, for example, traveling outside the region or whatnot. If you do plan on traveling, then you know that you will have a 14-day quarantine upon the date of return. So that I just want to make sure I get this out to you as early as possible, so you can make a decision on what you wanted to do. I think the public health message is encouraging that you stay put. Don't go out. Definitely don't go to LA. So just saying, but so kind of keep in mind of that, and so if you're saying put, definitely, we can do this. as soon as we get back. Other questions?
Hi, Dr. Chen.
Hi, Megan.
Hi. I am wondering, so what, it sounds like when they're on campus, they won't be staying necessarily in their cohorts? Or that will change?
No, so the way, you know how before our plan was each grade has a blue cohort and a gold cohort and then the sky cohort, right? So say 7th grade has blue, gold, and sky. Well, in this case, we no longer need a blue and gold. We just have 7th grade. So entire 7th grade will come in and 7th grade will stay with 7th grade, right? And then the sky cohort of the 7th grade will stay virtual, but everyone else in the 7th grade will be with 7th graders the whole day. They
Okay.
won't be mixing with the 8th graders, and they won't
Right.
be mixing with the 6th graders.
Does that change? But what I'm wondering is it going to change like their class schedule? Especially like with the 6th graders, because they have two groups. I'm just wondering if it changes how that plays out.
Natalie's the mastermind of the schedule. Go ahead.
Hi, Natalie.
Hello, Megan. Yeah, so the 6th graders will, like if they're in Mrs. Pucci's class, they're staying in Mrs. Pucci's class. So that schedule's not changing for the kids, and same thing with Miss Iki's class. So our 6th graders just won't be split with the blue gold division. So, and that's what you've been seeing happening now with outdoor ed. We've had all Miss Iki's class in, all Mrs. Pucci's class in together. The only group that we haven't is 8th grade because it's a pretty big group trying to manage 20 kids. So that group, we are going to be merging them together for the Thursdays. And that group will be having a bigger area for them to be able to spread out for social distancing.
Okay,
and
thank
for
you.
classes such as say science, right, where Ms. Medina teaches multiple grades. I think Ms. Harris, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think the plan is that she will teach virtually, but then the homeroom teacher, so to speak, can continue to monitor. Is that correct?
Yeah, I grouped her with the 7th and 8th grade grouping because she also teaches them math. And so she'll teach them live. And then our 6th graders, she would be doing virtual, where we would have one of our homeroom teachers sitting in that class during that duration of that science time. So we're not having our teachers getting exposed to the whole middle school, just 3 of them, Miss Liege and Mr. Holtberg and Mrs. Medina would be our 7th and 8th grade grouping. And then our 2 6th grade teachers would be with the 6th grade grouping. So any other additional, we'd still be broadcasting them in like the virtual time for them. But predominantly for 6th graders, they're with their homeroom teachers the majority of the day. There's just a handful of other classes outside.
Good.
Thank you.
There is a question about thoughts and plans on the 8th grade promotion events. The answer is yes. The detail, not yet. The plan, at the very least, or at the most restrictive version, will it be the way we would have done it, similarly last year, and we're going to refine what we have done last year and make it even better. But if we can go into even less restricted, then we will do that, and then we want to continue to keep an open mind to make kind of see how the vaccine rollout is happening and all that stuff, so then we can make sure that the celebration will be really, really fun and meaningful. So I am optimistic, and if we can get this vaccine rollout done well, then we can do a lot more. Let's see. question, school supply on sanitizer type of thing and PPE, the supplies. This is probably Vince, you can speak into that. How are
Hi,
we doing with that?
good evening, everyone. We have a good supply of the face masks and hand sanitizer, but we could always use more. But because we haven't had a lot of people on campus yet, we haven't had to go through our supply. So if you want to make a donation, we'd appreciate it. But right now, we actually have a lot of masks. We actually have a lot of gloves, and we have a lot of sanitizer, enough to last us a while. But it's for our dispensers. So if we want to keep some more, like if your child wants to bring some for their desk at school when they come on site, that would be nice because they don't have to get up as much, and they have some with them at their desk. But that's kind of where we're at with that. So thank you.
Good, thank you. And there's a question about the times. We'll be on campus. Natalie, would you want to say something about that?
So our outdoor ed schedule that we're following would continue on the Wednesdays. It was at 12 to 2:30. And then our Thursday schedule would be the same that we're already running. So it'd be the 8 a.m. to I think the 3 p.m. about. So, and I'll let you know if modifications happen. I still need to take some more time on looking at the schedule and adapting it for this new platform. So, but that would be the goal.
Yeah, the idea, especially with the Wednesday, the half day, whether it's on campus or, doing something, it's because we thought that, I don't know if you've seen the video that I have posted on schools Facebook on middle school outdoor event 2 weeks ago. I mean, I was out there watching the kayaking group, just tons of fun. It's so looks to me really safe, right? You had the natural barrier, the kayak, that's happening out there, and I just we think that perhaps this if the schedule works, we can just continue to do outdoor education and that as an alternative activities. But at any time we want to be more, we don't have to do as elaborate type of things. We can continue to use the same schedule for other PE types of activities. So either way, we're excited that the schedule is going to give us a lot of flexibility to be creative. Other comments or questions?
I had a question. I was wondering if it's raining, then what would be the plan on those days they're supposed to have outdoor activity?
Good question, Natalie.
Well, I mean, this last week, we had postponed it. So, and we just pushed back the outdoor ed schedule. So moving forward, we'd have to take a look at that on the rainy days, if we could then go ahead and do in-class activities, which I would assume moving forward we would. But the game plan right now that we were in prior to this was doing just straight outdoor ed. So that's why you saw last week with the rainy day weather, we didn't try to make up something real quick. We went with our plans that we've had in the past with the students.
Yeah, in that last week, we wanted to be conservative with the way we operate, meaning when we say outdoor ed, but we didn't plan for kind of allowing that schedule to be flexible, and we didn't have the opportunity to talk to you about it. We say let's stick with that, and we can meet the commitment that we cancel, right, or postpone. But in this case, now that we speak to you about it, we say Wednesday afternoon basically is set up for basically it's really about the educational activities and focusing on physical activity, physical health, mental health, social emotional health. So if it's outdoor ed, great, we can do that. If it's not, then we bring it into the classroom and we will have plans for that. So either way, you can count on Wednesday afternoon to be on campus. how do you guys feel about this? I mean, just as a temperature check on your feeling about this, does it sound? I mean, we present this plan in many ways, still leave room for you to give us feedback so we can revise. We don't just say this is it, set in stone, right? We have always operated with the assumption that we continue to want to listen to you and for you to, because I really believe in the collective wisdom on this kind of things, right? And so I still want to get a sense of how you're feeling about what you just heard. Is it are we going in the right direction? I mean, is this okay with you? You feel good about this? So you feel like, oh, this is too much? Yeah, I got
I
some
have
thumbs
a
up.
question.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. So will you be sharing any data? Like, I understand it's confidential. Like, we don't need to know names or anything, but if there is someone who test positive, whether that be faculty, teachers, or students, you could say, hey, there's been 1 or 2, whatever the data is. I don't need names, but it'd be nice to know.
Yes. We always operate on the air on the transparency side of things, but we had to be mindful of privacy issue, right? So that's what we operate on, and you will notice you have I can't remember. Vince might be able to remember because he helps me to send out the email that I can compose. I remember I had sent out some email, maybe one email pretending either potential exposure or case, some sort of like, something like that, without giving you too much specifics for you to figure out who the person is, right? So we will say that, and we will let you know which division you kind of need to watch out for, or what action we had taken to basically stop, right? Like if we said, okay, 6th grade, there's a potential exposure, we need to basically quarantine the entire 6th grade. You will know that. And so that's completely open and transparent. We had a few students who had a couple of students who tested positive coming out of the Christmas break, but we quickly discovered, and because the entire school is operating virtual, um, in the upper grade, and then we make sure we identify, sibling, and we have a contact trace team to make sure that they didn't have any exposure with anyone else, any of the families on campus in the school. And so therefore that one, we didn't really fully communicate per se, because that wasn't, to us, that wasn't really, we didn't feel like the need to alarm anybody, because that one was so isolated. That was really the family situation. And that has nothing to do at that moment with anything that school did. And we just need to make sure that the red flag, they can come back until they are been cleared by, we have a very strict protocol of clearing somebody to come back. So that's what happened. But you can trust that we will always err on the side of transparency. So yeah, so right now, I mean, thank God we don't have any community spread in the school community at this moment. Other question, let me see. I know there's some questions coming through the chat. Let's see. Great. I had some positive response about the plan. I appreciate the word of affirmation. Other comments? Sounds like this is a good plan moving forward. Again, this school and the leaders in the school, that we're here to always listen to you, always want to operate in a thoughtful and deliberate way. So feel free to always reach out. And we know that we tell people to reach out, people may not, so we'll continue to make this kind of platform available. I know that I need to do a little bit more of this. So I'm just glad that we get to do this today. Well, there's a question, Ms. Harris, you want to speak a little bit about uniform?
What was the exact question? Is it on school uniforms for the Thursday and Wednesday?
Are we strictly enforced or relaxed like elementary?
The middle school policy is pretty lax, actually, but I think it is. We want everybody to look as a community and together, which means that they are wearing PacBay gear. So PacBay, we gave everybody out a PacBay free shirt, so you can use that shirt or the Spirit store. But we do want to see our students as one community and not all this ragtag type of clothing in the middle school department. So please make sure that your kid is in the PacBay gear coming onto that Wednesday and the Thursday. I did make modifications for the group that was on the kayaking, just because, the water and weather and so forth, they may want to change to a different outfit. That was okay. But the rest of the group really should be in their PacBay gear. And then on the Wednesday, we've allowed for the athletic pant attire because they're out and moving. But on the Thursday, we would really want them to be in like a slack with still a tennis shoe. So.
And Mr. Chen, are we still on track, or maybe get everybody, all the students, some sort of a hoodie?
We're looking
hoodie.
we're looking into that to give them something warm to wear. So we are looking at trying to get classes something that they can identify themselves with and stay warm with.
I have a question. How do the teachers feel about coming back? Do you have any that are like, hey, I'm just going to go virtual? There's Miss Pucci. Or some are like, give me my shot. Let's vaccine. Let's do this. I mean, since there's transparency, you don't have to name names, but how do you feel about it?
Angela, in our team for middle school, our group has been very responsive and wanting to. So in the middle school side, we're doing good as far as our support staff to be able to be on site.
Yeah, I mean, teachers are just like anyone else. I mean, we have a wide range of feeling about this, use the level of comfortability. Fortunately for middle school faculty, I think no one is opting to be virtual. In high school, though, we have some teachers who have who would be at a higher risk, condition. And so we have have already anticipated that and making them virtual faculty, and and in high school we get more students remain in virtual cohort than coming on campus, and so these teachers who remain virtual can continue to serve the students remaining virtual as well, so that it worked out okay. So far, and so that is an ongoing sort of a question, and one of the things when we first came back, say from Thanksgiving break and also from Christmas break, and we couldn't quickly say have on-campus experience and whatnot, is because not only some of you travel, but we had teachers who also travel, and so we just didn't have enough human resource, so to speak, to operate on campus. So it creates a little delay, because initially I have thought about perhaps operating in this particular kind of a schedule pretty soon after we get back from Christmas break, but we quickly realized that before the break, knowing that whoever some people are traveling, so we couldn't do that. Yeah, so we're sensitive to the teachers' needs as well. I mean, this is it's just pretty stressful, for them, last March quickly pivot to complete virtual school, learning the new craft of teaching, and then all of a sudden, like perhaps have to do hybrid, or it's a lot to take. So we're trying to take good care of them as well, and giving them the resources that they need to operate well. Thanks so much for your concern and your support of teachers. It means a lot.
Can I say
anything else?
something?
Yes.
Hi everybody, it's nice to see you all. So whenever we have an on-campus day, there's so much excitement in the air. It's not just the students, it's the teachers. And we love your children so much. And to be in person with them, sorry, it's precious to us. You have no idea. So when Miss Ayers shared the news with us today, I literally got chills. I said, look at me, I have chills because we're going to be on campus more. So that is personally how I feel. And that was the mood of all the teachers when we were meeting, how excited we were. I didn't hear anybody say, oh no, So I am excited. And I think that's how all the teachers in the middle school at least feel.
So thanks so much, Ms. Pucci, for that. And I, on behalf of teachers, I want to thank you for your patience, your understanding, and your support. And our teachers truly love your kids, students. When I shared the initial plan with the high school teachers first, because high school plan was a little bit more complicated, as you can see, right? And it took a lot of debate to figure out like how do you run it, because we offer over 100 courses. We offer 100 courses in high school for 110 student high school. I mean, imagine that. That's. By the way, I'm bragging because I'm so proud of our school, right? I'm bragging. I mean, we offer all these courses, 100 plus courses, 60 plus elective courses, and so it's so complicated. But this is and so when I share with them the plan, I say, hey, can we get high school students on campus, and can we figure a way to make it happen? And then how do you feel about it? And they said, we will do whatever it takes to make it happen. It's really hard and a lot to take in, but we're gonna make it work. That's what they said. Like, they know that it's hard, but they are going to make it work. And so, that's the kind of educators that we have here. So I'm extremely proud of our school. Well, I know that it's time. It's at the hour mark. Unless you have more questions, last word, anybody? If not, I'm so thankful. I'm just so happy to see you all, and your presence and your smile really lifted my spirit. And let's go through this final 6.2 miles of the last stretch, strong, and we can get through this. So thank you so much, and have a wonderful day and wonderful evening. And I'll probably see some of you at high school tomorrow, I'm sure. But yes, get some rest. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Appreciate you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.